Jeff, look up.
Hey B, when was the last time those?
So
What kind of
you are pretty. If you want to get all of us in there, we've got.
I'd love to get us all in here.
So Gellman, you have to. I don't think he wants to be present the whole hour and a half. Does he?
Gellman?
What would you like me to do?
I'd love for you to be part of the show, but you have to like close the computer and like.
Okay.
Lean forward.
Up until 3 minutes ago, though, I was just a special guest.
No one's mad at you.
I know.
You're a special guest, but that special guest needs to be present.
No, I'm just trying to, like, Gellman, if you put your feet like that, it's a little better.
Like civilized.
It's just seriously like crotch shot without that. All right.
Here, let's just post this here.
I so wish I could make that the intro.
Oh dear. Jeffrey?
Yes.
Welcome to the show, baby.
Hey, well, it's exciting here.
Yeah?
I don't think I've ever been live on the show.
I don't think you ever have been either. And
It was a call-in.
It's a little different than the radio studio that you've had us at
Oh,
before.
everything is different here.
But I would venture to say, I think he's trying to diss a little bit. But what I'd say is,
No.
how many times have we had Indian food at the radio show?
0.
And
Think about it.
what do you say?
He was like, never.
And how good was that in Indian food? It's pretty spectacular,
Pretty
right?
spectacular.
Actually,
huh?
very good.
Right, pretty spectacular. Everybody, we got Mr. Jeffrey Gellman, as you can tell, sitting to the left of me. He's on, well, I was going to say he's on RV Dog Trainer Tour. He is, but he's also on the T3 Dog Trainer Tour. So he's kind of divvying his life up between these two different worlds here. So Jeff, you're gone for what, like 3 years on this? Like, gonna end up in Antarctica and
3 years was my prison sentence. 3 months is the RV tour.
you got furloughed.
Yes.
They let you out.
We'll straighten that out right
So give us a quick rundown, brief rundown
So
of.
first of all, let me give some rundown.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Gellman is our business partner in T3 Train the Trainers. He's also got an extremely successful business, Solid Canine Training in Rhode Island, and he travels the country in an RV with his family, training dogs and helping people all over the country.
His family is held hostage inside that RV, just in case anybody
But
didn't know.
also all over the world. So he's gone to Germany, Australia. He's going to Taiwan.
Have you been to Australia? You're going to Australia.
No, he
I
went.
had 2 dates in Australia, a date in Taiwan.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
And for all my European fans, I'm available to be booked.
He's just amazing, and he's
Yeah.
a big mentor for us, and one of our best friends.
But I'm a huge supporter of yours.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
It's a mutual love fest.
Yes.
Love affair and love fest. Jeff was really what kind of, when we started working together doing his
we were trying to
for
get
a
him
reality
on a
show.
reality show. Yeah.
You were already listening to Jeff's radio show back
Big
in
fan.
the day.
Big fan.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So I was like, hey, I've got this,
And I was like, I already know who
I got
he
this
is.
reality show that I'm working on. I shot film of this crazy guy, this dog guy in Rhode Island.
I think the first detail I ever told Sean about Jeff was I was like, did you know he owns the website IHateJeffGellman.com?
I was like,
Sean's
no.
like, yes.
Oh, did I know? Okay, I did know.
Whatever.
Anyways, so Jeffrey kind of brought us together. We started working on that
The reality show
that project,
teaser, yep.
and that took several months. We cut that, and that actually did some pretty cool things. We never actually got a show, but some production companies were very interested, and some great stuff happened.
And my guess is that a show will happen at some point in your lifetime, Jeff. There's just no way not
It
to.
happens now, but just in my mind.
Yeah. Or on Periscope, right?
Periscope, that's
So anyway, so Laura gave a quick introduction, and I won't.
Just that Gellman's our dude. We always bring him up. You guys know him well by the horse picture in the Winnie.
Right?
So you should know him very well.
The topless, horseless. I can't speak. It's been a long day,
It's
right?
9:30 at night, and we just had a full day of T3, eating food.
Day 3.
Oh yeah, day 4.
Day 4.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Day
So
4.
just in info. I mean, and I can tell already. I know when I'm gonna just like hit it out of the park, and I know when I'm gonna struggle for every
It's gonna be a
sentence.
struggle one.
So I just want to prepare everybody that we're in our 4th day. The days start very early, and we teach all day long,
And we have our normal life to do.
and we have our normal life to do. And so if my sentence and thought processes are a little bit strained, sounds like we got dog fights going on.
Yeah.
And Uma, girl, down, Platz. So if I'm a little compromised, bear with me. We'll get to some good stuff no matter what. Anyways, so Jeffrey's on his big tour. I think you're doing 3 months total, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Escaping the cold of New England.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, nice work.
All warm weather.
Nice work. And then, of course, he's down here right now for T3 Santa Clarita, which is at the beloved Tony Shields' place out in Santa Clarita, where we do our other board and train programs. So it's been a really pretty awesome, fun, amazing time, family affair. Long week, but like being at Tony's is really like a family affair, right? Tony's like
it's
Uncle
fantastic.
Tony, or depending on your age group, Grandpa Tony. Hopefully he won't see this, but
He won't watch it.
he's got grandkids to watch.
Yeah.
So T3's going great. We've got a great group of kids. Got a great.
Let's move it along.
Yeah.
Is this when people like write you, make
That we-
comments saying, when are you going to get to the questions?
No.
Oh, who was it?
Aria.
Aria.
Aria's already angry with me. So
She did have a good point.
Aria's a man.
It's a man, okay?
We found it.
He had a very good point.
Okay, so give me a second. I'm almost there. Okay, so anyways, T3's going awesome. We got a great group of folks, and we're having a great time with it. We got Jeffrey here, DVD, probably 2 weeks out,
Yep.
if we were betting folks.
Nope, we're doing it. It's out.
But-
Yeah, it's 2 weeks out.
I'll be showing the artwork. We had like a mock-up of the artwork. It was pretty great.
Not quite ready.
Needed a couple tweaks, so we're real close. So by Christmas, though, you guys will have the DVD in your hot little hands.
Yep.
And that has been a major sticking point, so we're proud to say that it's here. Belle will be snoring along with us.
Belle.
Docious. Stop it.
All right, let's get to
Anyways,
it.
you guys ready to get into the show? You ready?
I am so ready.
Hey, everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog, and this is the lovely Laura Morgan.
It's the handsome Sean from The Good
Ah,
Dog.
well, look at that. And this is the talented Jeffrey Gellman.
The talented and internationally renowned Jeffrey Gellman.
Jeffrey Gellman. And all this good stuff you can't see is the Good Dogs Q&A Saturday. Episode number. How we doing it?
You're gonna do it. Yay! You got
Almost
it.
did too.
60?
60, yeah.
Really?
60
Yes.
episodes.
Wow, that's impressive.
Right? One a week. That means we're what, in a year and
8 weeks.
year and change. Yeah, right? Math was never my thing. Anyways, let's get into the show, Miss Morgan.
All right. So question number 1 comes from Brian Gwaltney.
Yeah.
9. He says, my 5-month-old puppy gets really excited when we sit down for dinner. He does really great in place the rest of the day, but breaks command, barks, and makes a scene every night at dinner. What can we do?
Might be time for a new puppy. Sorry, Brian. Okay, so leash and prong. If you haven't done leash and prong work, leash and prong to reinforce place. Your dog already knows place, but when dinner's coming along and the excitement that goes along with that, it's causing your dog to bark, carry on, get into a bunch of buffoonery, break place, all that good stuff or not so good stuff. So let's put a leash and prong on. You can get a little small Herm Springer and reinforce that place command. Make sure your dog knows that that's non-negotiable. If you get barking, I want you to do a 3-step process. You're sitting at your dinner table or you're in the kitchen. Dog makes noise. I want you to calmly say no. I want you to calmly walk over, grab the prong collar, grab the leash, pop with a little correction, and then guide your dog back into place if your dog has moved off of place. And if you will share some consequences for your dad's poor behavior or your dog's poor behavior, you'll get both of them in line, and things should look up, and dinner should be a much more comfortable, relaxing endeavor. So, Jeffrey, you want to add anything to that?
I think giving
Advice to parents?
No, it's great. It's always great. I think obviously that the owner has done a great job doing baseline training. The fact that they know what the place command is and they know when to use it.
Totally.
I think they really rely on trainers to give permission to say you actually can say no.
Right.
I think now it's time to say no. So now it's time to say no with a consequence to motivate your dog to stay there. And at the beginning, what's his name, Brian?
Yeah.
So Brian, you might say, oh, so my dog's going to stay there because he's afraid of getting corrected. Yeah, maybe at the beginning, but don't worry, it all evens out.
Totally.
The bottom line is your dog is old enough and capable enough to stay in place for an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, he's 5 months old.
Yeah.
So,
He's a dog.
so as a group, what happens when you don't share consequences that are valuable for your dogs?
They make different choices.
Right. They make
Bad ones.
the wrong ones.
Right. Not just different ones, but bad ones. The silence scared me a little bit. I thought
I didn't know if you were supposed to
I
answer
thought
all together.
exactly.
we might have
I
to
was
dub
trying to-
something in. Laura's like, they make bad choices.
I was trying to think of like the perfect buzzword answer that you wanted.
That's all right. You did great. All right. So, Brian, that's what we want you to go with. Set up some consequences for your dog. Let your dog know that that stuff's not okay. You've already done a great job starting all the foundation work. But, like, this part of it is actually the easy part. The enforcing and setting the consequences, you can make this stuff move pretty quick and end up in a pretty great space pretty fast.
Yes.
And
So,
if I can make one
Please.
note on
Sure.
that. Some folks might say, well, that's going to ruin the relationship in the dog because it's a 5-month-old dog.
Right.
But I like to look at it this way. Having dinner with your dog in the same room
yep.
is going to super exceed. There won't be any negative consequences, but any negative backlash you're ever going to have. Because now you'll be able to go to all your friends' house with your dog, your in-laws' house with your dog, and your dog will just lie down there in place. So,
Absolutely.
So you will have actually a better relationship by giving your dog a consequence.
More inclusion.
Yes.
More inclusion. Yep. Absolutely.
Cool.
Jeffrey, are you done? You sign off on that one?
Is that how it works here?
We just need you to sign
Just
off.
give it-
Oh,
Ready?
Thank you.
All right, he signed off. Yep. All right, Jeffrey's done. Great. And we're on to question number
Gotta
2.
spit on it. Okay, question number 2.
Yep.
This comes from Lisa.
Yes.
Lisa says, my question is, what training collar should I move on to with my dog? A background is that I've had this shelter dog for 4 months. She was at a great heel the first month or two. She's not healing around 50% of the time now. She's pulling.
Eek.
She has issues when we come across humans on our walks. Rarely do we encounter them.
Yep.
But I would say she's fearful and acts like I'm not the pack leader that will protect her. I think walking by them should be a non-issue. I use a safe, calm collar, which is similar to like a Halti. And
Ever
I use
heard one of those?
it's just another name for
a Halti.
Yeah, some
Is
kind of.
the brand.
Yeah.
I use sound and firm body language to communicate what is acceptable to me for her as far as behavior. I have followed Sean and Jeff Gellman's methods, and I have protocols in place, so I would say she has some obedience. Thanks, Sean and Laura.
Excellent.
Aww. Thanks, Lisa.
Lisa, I'm going to leave this one up to Jeff. I got your name right here,
because
buddy.
you want me to be semi-mean to Lisa.
No.
right, well,
I just, I
okay.
mean, I want to see what you suggest,
So,
and I'm happy
Lisa,
to jump
okay,
in,
so
but go ahead.
Lisa. Where in Sean and Jeff's protocol does it say to use a Halti-like device? Because first of all, number one, Lisa, we can tell you're super smart. You're obviously knowledgeable because you're throwing out language out there that shows that you watch videos.
Yeah.
You most likely read books. You probably have been to maybe some trainers because your language is so appropriate. You understand what you need to do. Unfortunately, though, it sounds like you're using a tool that's not working for you. So what I would do is I would switch to a Herm Springer prong collar. What's the size of the dog?
I don't think we
don't
know. I
So
don't think we know.
anything under 50 pounds, 45 pounds, I would get the 2.25 millimeter. 45 to 50 pounds and above, 3 millimeter. You never have to use anything bigger than a 3 millimeter collar. Now, all that information that you've been following with Sean and Jeff, what you can do
And
is
Laura.
watch now how to fit a prong collar, how to size a prong collar, how to use a prong collar, and then I think what you'll find is less than 50%, you must be frustrated. And the cool thing is the information is out there, and you will immediately, probably within a week or less, have some of the best walks of your life. So.
And the only thing I'd add to that, Lisa, is that, hey, zip it up, is that if you find that working with the prong after you switch out of the halty-like device, after working with the prong, if you find that you're still struggling and you're not getting what you want and the dog is still staying escalated, peaked, not in a good, comfortable, relaxed space, then e-collar heel would probably be the place for you to go, or the direction for you to go. And that, of course, involves a little more work, a little more investment monetarily, but it can change your life and change your dog's life. We were actually doing e-collar heel all day today with T3 with all the students, and it was a pretty amazing thing for everybody to watch. All of these kind of like revved up dogs calm down, relax, chill out, and give much better stuff. So try with the prong. It's a nice, cheap, easy way to get in. Get the Herm Springer. I think they're $30. Get started. Watch our videos if you haven't checked them out. And then if that doesn't give you what you need, then you can always augment it and go with the e-collar down the line. Yeah. Cool. Nice work, Jeffrey. Well, we'll jointly sign off on this one.
Question number 3. This comes from Sonia Peterson.
Hey, Sonia.
Sonia says, I have a 6-year-old GSD who's fully e-collar trained on recall, place, heel, and sit. I rescued him 2 months ago. He's generally a very anxious dog, but made great improvements with the e-collar. He does place command for hours and loves it. However, when we're getting ready for a walk and I have all 4 of my GSDs, that's an amazing life. On their place command, and I leash them up individually, he can't stop whining.
Maybe you guys can start a support group.
I've tried using the e-collar and saying no at the same time, but he's not getting it. I just have to stand there until he's quiet, and then I release him, but that takes forever, like 3 minutes, LOL. Any other tips would be great. You guys are awesome.
Okay, we can all take a swing at this. I'll swing first.
Please.
Sonia, so you've got all these shepherds, which Laura's very jealous of. You've got them all on e-collars, which is awesome, which means that you've got the best tool pretty much going for being able to communicate with your dog. So you've been using e-collar corrections to get him to stop whining. My suspicion is that the corrections you're using are underwhelming. Thank you guys, my joint team here. Underwhelming your dog and not overriding the desire to whine, right? And even with someone who will go nameless here in this house who has some whining issues, whenever another owner who will go nameless hits a level that's high enough, the whining does stop. So if you underwhelm and you constantly nag, you're gonna just manage that whining, and it's most likely just gonna continue and continue and continue. And as uncomfortable as it can be to hit a correction that's at a significantly higher level and cause your dog maybe to vocalize, but then draw back and stop the whining, that would be my approach. So it can be hard. None of us want to make our dogs go, "Arr!" But if that's what helps your dog actually break out of that cycle of whining.
The whining isn't comfortable dog, right? Yeah. Whining isn't coming from like the dog being like, oh, this is just like, it's like excitement and anxiety and I'm not sure what to do with this and I've got to, so we just want to knock it out and say, don't worry about it. We're going to go. Just relax. We got this. You know?
But sometimes it takes higher pressure to make that happen.
Absolutely.
Jeffrey, take a swing.
I mean, the fact that you got 4 German Shepherds is great. I mean, I've got 4 myself. So, you know, the one of the things is that you waiting for it to stop. Number one, Sonia, who's got time for that, right? So with 4, you don't have time for that. You know, they've already covered the bases. There has to be a consequence. What I would do is I would role play it. Number one, you're probably I don't know if you're in a rush when you go, but I don't want you to wait. What I want you to do is role play. So pretend you're going on a walk. So do the training of eliminating the whining when you're not even going on a walk. So pick up the leashes, your dog thinks you're going on a walk, correct it. So when it's actually time to go on a walk, you've already done it. So I would do drills, just like you've done place drills, sit drills. Down drills, stop the whining drills. And like they mentioned, you've been underwhelming your dog, so I think now it's time to step up a little bit. The first time the dog does it, he might vocalize, but I assure you the dog will learn really, really quick. Whining sort of sucks.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's kind of the drill. You want whining to suck, so
Cool.
make it suck.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay,
We got
question
Artem.
number 4. This is from
Does
Artem.
Artem visit you on in your world
Metzafine.
from Ukraine?
Yep, sure.
Artem gets around.
He's a dog trainer, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's got badass videos.
Yeah,
Boss.
Artem's great.
Yeah.
It's always winter in his videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that
The Ukraine.
goes with
Yes.
Ukraine. He's a sweet guy too.
Artem says, "Hey, Sean and Laura, I have a question about highly fearful dogs. I'm talking about those types which are afraid of everything, not only something certain, but total mess dogs with panic attacks from anything they see, hear, etc., especially outside. What kind of protocols do you use to rehab them? Any suggestions from you would be great. Thank you, guys."
Jeff, you want to take a swing first?
Sure. First of all, Artem, I'm actually a follower of yours. I think your videos are awesome. I'm, it obviously snows there 365, 24/7. The work you do with your clients are great. It's funny because I know you translate them into English, but I can almost understand them in your native tongue just because dog training is sort of universal.
Yeah.
You can actually see the pain of the clients before and after, but that's another step. So, using fearful dogs, you want to do confidence building things. The more fearful the dog, the stronger the leader has to be. So I think that a lot of owners, what they do is they feel bad for the dog because it's so fearful, but what they're really doing is reinforcing the fear. I know a lot of times people say, well, you can't reinforce fear, but sure you can. If you don't fix it, you reinforce it. So what do? Lots of structure, no free roaming, teach all your baseline obedience, do confidence building things, such as what? Personally, I don't do agility, but we've got agility equipment. So I've noticed in some of your videos, you've got, people can be jumping up on the wood, going under things, going over things, and you can still actually...
Jumping over the snow.
Jumping over the snowbanks, yes. You actually still can correct a dog that is fearful, which a lot of people think you can't. You actually can. That's just a couple of short things.
Cool, those are great. So the things that I would add would be only feed in interactions where the dogs are nervous, right? So if you're dealing with a really fearful dog, using food protocols to really leverage more desire for interaction, which can be tough because you typically, if the dog's really fearful, you need a lot of food drive to override that and get the dog to make that bridge to want to work with you. But you can absolutely do that. But once again, that takes time, and it takes the patience, and it takes the ability to see a dog like he might not eat for several days until he gets to the point where he's like, I'm hungry enough that I'm ready to like start moving towards you. So that's one part of it. Food protocols can definitely help, and then the other part would be e-collar protocols. Any serious fearful dog that we've had in here, and we've had some pretty serious cases. It's been all e-collar work, right? So there's no better way to take a dog that's afraid of you. And I think we've talked about this before. I think because Artem's had a lot of like street dogs and feral dogs and things like that. So he gets some pretty challenging cases. But just like I shared before, the whole concept with e-collar training is that a fearful dog feels that it's safer, more comfortable and a way to escape pressure by being at a distance from you. And the whole kind of flip of the script with the e-collar training is that you make it uncomfortable to be away from you, and as the dog draws closer to you, it becomes more comfortable, more comfortable, more comfortable. And you do lots of repetitions of that to where the dog goes, being away from you sucks, but being right next to this guy who I was worried about is now actually something pretty cool. And on top of that, this dude's feeding me while he's doing it. So if you can use food protocols and e-collar protocols and leverage both of them, I think you can find yourself in a space where you can really get some great results. Both are going to be they're going to take time. None of this is going to go quick, and you can't expect any of these fearful dogs to be like normal dogs and just bam. But you can make some major progress if you utilize those protocols, I think, between what me and Jeff both shared. Laura, you want to jump in? Say anything?
You guys got it.
We got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I would say.
Laura's like, more Indian food. I mean, right.
No, I'm looking at the next question.
Anyways, Artem, let us know. I think what we shared will definitely help you, and you're a smart guy and a good trainer. So keep us posted on how all that works.
I wonder if that's the feral dog that he's working with now that he's made videos with.
That's a good question. He's had the dog for what, 3 months or something like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
But he doesn't say anything about the feral.
But you're doing great work. You're doing great work, buddy.
Yeah.
We love you, Artem.
Yep. And don't be afraid to like. Don't be afraid to just do something. Just try something. You know what I mean? There's no.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's no book or to any of that stuff. Just
Sometimes
try
the
stuff.
creativity is the answer. Like we spent half of the day today with T3 teaching folks about how to break all the rules that we just laid down, right? Like, here's all the e-collar rules, blah, 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 and here's how you break them all.
Yeah, exactly.
So you might find that you need to do some different stuff,
Yeah.
and you might need to, and this can be a hard one, it can be a bit inflammatory for people, but you might need higher level e-collar stuff to get to override that fear if that fear is really intense, and that can be uncomfortable for the dog and for a trainer to be in that engaged in that initially until you see the dog make the switch, and then the dog's like, man, I just want to be next to you and this is great.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's it, Artem. I'm signing off on this one, and we're moving on to the next one. Let us know how it goes, buddy.
Bye, Artem.
We got Jacqueline van
Breek.
Yeah,
Jacqueline.
it's a tough one.
Yeah. So.
Hold on to your hats, buddy.
Question number 5 comes from Jacqueline Van Beerk. It's a long question, but it's a good one. She says, "Hi, Sean and Laura. I enjoy your show." And then
Thanks, Jacqueline.
Now I crave Indian food and wine. Great.
Check it out. Power of influence.
Here's my question. I have a 5-year-old border collie mix. His name is Bolt. He's an awesome dog. He's vocal. When people come over, he barks, gets hyper with kids. She pet corrects him, and it helps a little. He loves the attention on his terms. Someone pets him, he'll let him do it for a bit, and then he starts showing his teeth and growling, even snapping in a puppyish way. And then he goes back to wanting more, licking them at the same time while showing teeth and growling. I've had him for 3 years. He's never hurt anyone, but I prefer he doesn't do that. When there's a few people he never does it to, and when we're around other dogs, he's chill unless they're his size, and he'll start barking and acting nervous. He gets along with dogs. Puppies jump in his face. He'll show teeth but not do anything. Just tell him to cut it out. If my boyfriend and I sit in a park and another dog approaches us, he starts barking, not wanting him to come near us. If I touch my boyfriend, he touches me, or he touches me, he starts barking and whining.
At the boyfriend?
Yeah, at them, if there's any connection between them. I hear you talk a lot about dogs being stressed out. I'm trying to figure what would stress him out. I walk him, play fetch with him. He gets good food, treats, social time, plenty of attention. What am I missing? Thank you so much. You inspire me.
Well, for one, I'm so happy that we inspire you.
Yeah.
And you've been a regular on here for a while now. I think she said she was writing a song about something that was posted recently.
yeah.
So that's fantastic. But what I will say, and I'm going to let all of us take a swing at this, I think there's a lot of things that are missing, right? And I don't say that to be disparaging, but all the things you listed at the end, as far as play, fun, and
Walk, food, treats,
good
social,
food,
plenty of attention. That's
those aren't the things that are on the top of our hit list
Right.
for making dogs that are showing their teeth, that are stressed, that are uncomfortable, make them behave better.
Yeah.
Those are towards the bottom of the list. So Jeff, you want to take a swing first? So showing teeth around kids.
So there's a couple of different issues. Number one, a lot of this is going to be correction based. So first of all, what I would do is for the next 90 days, let's do existence around other people. Meaning, I want your dog to do place with nobody approaching your dog and nobody petting your dog. Because I want your dog to learn, because it sounds like your dog is doing a little bit of resource guarding. Your dog's actually resource guarding you from your boyfriend, which is a major concern, because if the boyfriend turns into a fiance into a husband into a father, you into a mother, now you're going to have problems with the baby. So let's get your dog to stop resource guarding you from the boyfriend. To me, when your dog comes up to you, when you are intimate with your boyfriend, that's a bad sign. In a way, we've got a saying. I know they're we're a little bit rougher on the East Coast, but my thing is like, who the F do you think you are, dog, for doing that? So what I would do is I would correct the dog from resource guarding you. Also, I want the dog to be in place. I'm sure you know what it is. Go to a mat, go to a bed, away from you. I don't want your dog close to you in the house. Like right now, I'm looking at, other than Belle, snoring behind Sean, all the other 5 dogs are actually away from us, anywhere from 4 feet to 10 feet. They're all lying down on the bed on the floor. And you know what? They're all happy. They're all happy. You know, they did stuff today, some of the stuff you mentioned, but right now, we're doing a radio show, or we're doing an internet show, and I need all the dogs to be pushed away. Yeah. Let's do that. No petting. This is a situation which could turn bad. Don't say that as a scare tactic at all, but we've seen stuff like this. You've caught it at the beginning.
Yeah.
So let's squash it right now. I don't want you calling into their show next year saying, my dog is biting people, what do I do?
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would be like, nobody pets my dog right now. It stresses out your dog.
Yeah.
Your dog doesn't like the pressure. I'm sure Sean and Laura have talked about pressure. Meaning, you know, if you're sitting right there and I go like this to you, you're like, whoa, too much pressure. That's what I would do right now. Correcting, you know, remote collar for growling, but I think the growling will go away by you keeping the dog away. So that's my advice.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to just build off that a little bit, and a lot of what Jeff said is kind of what I'm going to say as well, because we share a brain. But structure, right? So you've got a dog that's nervous, insecure, stressed out, showing teeth around kids and around other dogs. So that tells me a lot of stuff. It tells me, one, advocacy is not happening. And that means that when I say advocacy, that means that you're not keeping space for your dog, a safe bubble where your dog is not being pressured. I think Jeff mentioned pressure as well, pressured by children or pressured by other dogs or people in general. So advocacy really means that you understand your dog, understand your dog's needs, and then provide for them and protect them and make sure that who your specific dog is able to be comfortable in the world, because you're going to make sure that you advocate for them and not allow things that cause them to be uncomfortable and highly stressed. When you're seeing the teeth baring and things like that, that's stressful. Those are stressful reactions. Now, I can guarantee you, if you did what Jeff said and you pulled way back on the affection, you pulled way back on the freedom, you got heavy duty on the structure, you put the dog in place, and people came into your house, kids came into your house, you would see a very different reaction from that dog. Yeah. You would not see the teeth baring, the resource guarding stuff would start to dissipate. You'd see big changes across the board. So those are some things that you really have to look at. All the things you listed were like kind of like the sweet, nice, easy things. Yeah. Those aren't the things that make that help change dogs' states of mind and get the mindset into the right space.
That's so hard, because so many times we're told as owners, like, if you exercise your dog more, you're good. If you take him for tons of walks, he needs better food, he needs like the
more
organic
love.
stuff. Yeah, more affection, he needs more like positive reinforcement. And all that stuff's fine, but without the structure and the rules and all the stuff that they're talking about, you're kind of just getting one half of the equation, you know? So you are doing a great job. It's just the information out there can be a little bit like not complete. So add all this other stuff in and you're going to have a really great, well-balanced dog, but like be heavier on the structure and all that right now, because you've been so heavy.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like having a child who's misbehaving, and you're like, well, I make sure that I take him out to go toy shopping a lot, and we go out to like IHOP and we get pancakes,
and I ask him how he feels
and we go
about
play
me.
go-karts and do stuff like that, and we do all this really fun stuff because it's really fulfilling for him. But I don't hold him accountable for his homework, and I don't make sure that he gets good grades, and I don't make sure that he's behaving in school, and I don't make sure that he's doing his chores at home. All the stuff, and take this in the way that it's meant, which is really kind, is that the stuff that you're doing is the easy stuff, right? That's the kind of the fun, easy stuff of owning a dog. The stuff we're talking about is the hard stuff, and that's why a lot of folks don't do it, and I get it. It's a pain in the ass. If we all could be blessed with a dog that you could just kind of like be willy-nilly with and freewheeling, it'd be a blast, but that's not the case. Most of us end up with dogs that need some more help. So the one thing I'd add to that, beyond like all of this horrible, ugly information that these two made you, are recommending for you to do, would be actually even worse, which is e-collar work. I'd highly recommend that you
Worse meaning more work.
Yeah, meaning I'm just making things worse for you, which is that I would highly, highly, highly recommend for what you've got going on, because it's one thing to teach place and all the structure, and we're kind of giving you this kind of general sense of like, do this, do this, do this, but without the tools to enforce it, you're kind of you end up in no man's land. You end up kind of stuck. You end up with a dog that you can't really enforce those rules. So if you did e-collar, recall, sit, down, place, and heel, right? Like that's a lot. But if you subtracted even a few of those and you did e-collar, recall, heel, and place, and forget the rest, but you enforce those three really well, you'll find a dog that will be in a totally, totally different mode. And if somebody should walk into your house and your dog should raise its lips, growl, bark, give any kind of untoward behavior, it's so easy to just say no and tap the button, and your dog goes, wow, that's an unwanted behavior. I can't make that choice. I need to make a better choice. I don't know what it is, but let me figure it out. And what they'll do is they'll figure it out. They'll sit there, instead of going, they'll sit there and they'll go, pop, correction. Okay, let me just sit here and just kind of process and deal with this. And they'll process, and they'll end up on the other side a few months down the line with better behavior and better choices. But all of that is a ton of work.
Yeah.
So,
So let me throw in an easy thing.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling you're not crating your dog. I got a feeling on that. So if you are crating your dog, kudos to you. But if you're not, I'd like to see your dog crated
I
at
didn't
night.
even think about that.
And I'd like to see your dog crated when you're not home. But I've got to
Tell her why.
Because I'm seeing that you didn't mention that as a priority. Your priorities were a lot of the loosey-goosey, easy stuff. And for a lot of people, crating the dog is hard. The crating of the dog is not, this is just a general thing for all of Sean's fans. The crating of the dog is not for just housebreaking and destruction. Crating of the dog is an extreme leadership protocol.
Yeah.
It's, I need you to kennel up, and I need you to be quiet in your kennel, and it's time for bed, and that's where you go.
And it's non-negotiable.
It's non-negotiable. And I don't know about you, but I've got 7 children, and none of them are allowed to go to sleep on the couch, or none of them are allowed to go to sleep like on the floor. Or they all have beds, and that's where they sleep. And they've got bedtimes. So I think that's, everyone wants to anthropomorphize. That's the wrong word, because I can't even say it because I'm tired of that damn word. But I think it's like, let's do it anyway. So your dog should be in a crate. Your dog should be in a crate.
Cool. And that crate, the structure that goes with the crate, and removing access to your dog just being able to freely roam has a nice psychological impact on your dog, right? Yeah. So dogs that can just freely roam and own the house and wander into your personal space at will has a major impact on how they behave. So that's why me and Jeff are big fans of the crate. Yeah. People think it's because we're just trying to make things easy. Yeah, we don't want dogs to destroy things in the house. We want dogs to be safe and not get themselves in trouble. But the psychological effects of it are far more significant. Yeah. So, and then of course you've got the whole issue of like, but I feel bad. He's in a crate. It's like jail, and he's sad. And so you'll have to wrestle with any of those emotional possible feelings or fallout that you might get from that. But follow what we did, which is pretty intense. And you'll end up with a dog that's not doing any of that stuff that you've got problems with.
Because I think he caught it at the beginning. And a year from now, you're going to be the client that calls up Sean or me saying your dog's biting kids, or every time you hug your boyfriend, which by then may be a husband, is your dog bites one of you and now you're afraid to have children.
Yeah.
So.
And just to close this out, it always comes down to the same thing, which is how bad do you want it?
Yep.
is the pain in the ass of what you're dealing with worth doing the work? If not, then you kind of just put up with it, and you know, like you want to kiss your boyfriend, you guys like go hide in the bathroom and you kiss in the bathroom, and that's the best that you get. So, anyways, let's not do that. All right.
Well, you can kiss him with a boyfriend. I mean, in the bathroom, but that's not where you're. You should be able to kiss him wherever you want.
You should have
You
should have more freedom.
Right,
you should have more freedom.
There should be more than one spot in the house.
Kitchen would be okay too.
Kitchen's good.
Okay, we've got question number 6, Miss Laura Morgan.
Question number 6.
You know, we haven't had a Laura Secret Surprise question in like a million years.
Actually, we did like a couple episodes ago. So.
Which was that? You don't remember? You're lying. That's okay. Go ahead. We'll find you one.
Number 6.
We
Question
just need to find a
number
really
6.
hard one.
No. This comes from Christine. Christine says, question, I have a 2-year-old Great Pyrenees that constantly barks for no reason. I've used a low shock collar on her and it works. Used to work, but now no longer does the trick. I have neighbors calling on me about the barking. Please help.
This one sounds like a pretty simple one. I can hand it off to either one of you guys. I think we're all going to say basically the same thing. So maybe it'll be fun just to see if we do all say the same thing.
Should we write it down and open it up at once?
Yeah. Like cover the ideas, right? I'm going to cover.
What is that, Jeopardy?
Yeah, right.
We could actually do like, I'll start with a word and then you do the next
wanna
word
do that?
and then you
Spell
do the
it.
next word.
Spell it.
Okay, so you.
Need to.
There's 2 words.
That's okay. Go ahead, Gellman.
Come on, Gellman.
Use.
A.
Better.
Well,
I think we're struggling here.
No. It's like if your landlord's complaining, that means you're probably not home, so you need to use a bark collar.
That's what I was saying, a better bark collar.
Right. Okay.
Well, but I think she's using a remote and she's using it low. So
She says I'm using a low bark collar.
did she say bark collar or remote
Bark
collar?
collar.
Oh.
She said bark collar.
Really? You positive?
You sure? I thought I just said it said shock. She used the word shock collar.
I think Laura's lying.
the
to us.
landlord-
Shock collar.
Right.
Anyways, so okay, seeing as this little game didn't work out very well,
That was kind of cool though. We should do that next time.
we have to perfect it first.
I
So,
like Gellman's like,
so here's the deal: 2 choices.
One word
Yeah,
out of me?
exactly.
No.
It's not working. Sean got 2. And
I got stuck and scared. So 2 choices. If you've got a remote collar on your dog, go higher. Stop going low. If you're going low and your dog is continuing to bark, what is your dog telling you? It's a clear communication. And I don't mean this as a diss, but when you underwhelm your dog with consequences, you're going to see the behavior continue, right? So your dog's barking, it feels really good, it's fun, it's a nice release. Oh, then you're looking out the window, I don't like that barking, you correct. At like an 8, your dog goes, "Rah," but I really like the barking and continues to bark. Now, instead, if you correct it 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, whatever it happens to be, and your correction is up here, and the reward for barking is down here, then everything changes, right? So, like, keep that real simple. Now, if it's happening when you're not home, and it sounds like it is happening when you're not home, and neighbors are complaining, then you need, like Jeff said, a better bark collar. And that is an automatic collar that's going to do the work for you while you're gone. And you need to make sure that you find a setting that your dog cares about enough that while you are gone, that it doesn't bark and it minds its manners and behaves itself. I'd say that, to be perfectly frank, we've all kind of been stuck about finding like the best no bark collar. The best one I think that I've found right now, and you may disagree, but the best one I found right now seems to be the Sport Dog. We've used it on several dogs, and we've had a pretty good situation with it. Any suggestions from you?
I mean,
Well,
they
but-
still have the ones that were sold to
get the bark
Garmin.
limiter.
The Tritronics
the bark
Garmin.
limiter.
Bark limiter.
Yeah,
But
Tritronics
what
bark limiter.
what are the reviews on that? What I mean,
We use them and they're really good. But Christine,
Oh, yeah?
another thing that might be holding you back is I noticed you use the word shock collar. And let's just keep in mind there might be a mental block for you for going up higher. Let's just keep in mind that it's actually not shocking the dog.
Right.
It's shock. When we hear shocking, we think abuse. Shocking actually is electricity. It's not electricity. So you might not want to go higher because you might have you might be mentally stuck it's not to be disrespectful that you're shocking your dog. You're actually not shocking the dog. What you're doing is you're letting the dog know you don't agree with the
Behavior. Yeah.
And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how many peanut butter Kongs you hide around the house. Or I don't care how many puzzles you have in the house. I don't care if you weigh your dog 20 miles a day. If you are not home and the dog is barking, you have to use a remote device that shuts your dog up.
Yep.
So
I agree. I love the idea of like peanut butter Kongs hidden all over, but more for me though.
That is a common ploy, but you shouldn't be giving peanut butter to your dog because it has, was it xylitol in it?
No.
Sweetener and gum.
That's not in peanut butter.
Not
Yes,
in
it is
like
now.
in like
Peanut butter?
Yes.
organic, like
Not organic, but read the news. Google it. Yeah.
Really?
like in Skippy.
In
Hey,
many,
easy. Skippy's great peanut butter.
Don't give it to your dogs.
No,
In
I'm talking about like the straight like
Is
organic
it like
peanut
maybe
butter.
low
that's
sugar
like
Skippy or something like that?
All I'm saying,
they're
Google
putting.
it.
Oh,
Yes, they're putting.
like,
This is new.
ugh.
Within
Really?
2 weeks, yes, press releases have been released. Yes.
Wow, I'm saddened by this news terribly. Yeah, so I'm at a loss for words. Anyways, so we need either
Pick up all the Kongs.
right, either we either we need a better remote collar correction at a higher level, or we need a great no bar collar set at a high enough level. And real quick, just to give you, in case you're not using a no bar collar, if you're using a remote, make sure you start low with your no bark and be present when it happens, so you can make sure your dog doesn't have a panicky moment or anything weird go on with it. And don't use the auto setting where it automatically corrects higher, 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 because you can create a cycle of panic, which can be really bad news bears. So start low and then just slowly work your way up. If you do use the Garmin Tritronics, they don't even call it Tritronics, right? It's Garmin Bark Limiter.
We ordered as the bark limiter.
Bark Limiter.
Find it right on Amazon. Yep.
Gotcha. It'll actually tell you how many times your dog has barked while you've been gone, which is great, because then when your neighbor's like, you know, your Great Pyrenees barked 400 times, and you can walk over and you can show them the collie and be like, look, it's 28 times, so just like take
Which
it
is
easy,
still
all
too
right?
many.
Right, and you're like,
So-
hey, I'm sorry it was 28 times.
So
but
one last thing about this. So bark collars are great and all that stuff, but typically the reason the dog is being in that mode when you're gone is that the rest of the time in their life maybe there's a little bit more leniency. So it'd be really cool if you could do some foundation stuff just with like a, you know, e-collar program like we talk about, like place command, recall, like a super structured walk.
Yep.
You get a dog that's a little bit more calm all over in every other situation, and when you leave and you crate him, which we're hoping that you're doing, then he's not just barking because he's in a much more relaxed space just generally.
she's probably using her Pyrenees kind of as a guard dog.
Yeah, so
That's probably what's happening.
So that's one thing. If you're looking for like guard dog stuff, that's a different thing. You can send that, you know, give an addendum for next week, and we'll talk about that. But if you're just looking for like a nice dog, companion dog for yourself, I would say do a lot more structure for the rest of the moments in the dog's life, and then crate the dog when you're gone. And if you're gone too long, you need to hire a dog walker or someone that can get him out in the middle of the day. And then
Taught this girl good, right?
Yeah, she does her stuff.
and then
Smarty pants. Sorry.
then you can honestly worry less about the barking in the crate, just because you have a more like relaxed dog all over.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer.
So bark collars are great, but to us, we don't use them like we don't like the dogs that work with us or anything like that. We're not like, oh, he's a barker, let's put it like.
It's pretty rare. I mean,
Very
that
rare.
we use a bark collar. I will use a remote collar early on with dogs
Of course.
that come in that are in a really agitated, anxious state to help them move through it. But
Yeah,
but otherwise
it's not our way of like, let's shut them down, let's shut down the noise, let's shut down the anxiety. It's so much about the other stuff that we do outside of the crate that causes that crate to be like easy peasy.
right.
Okay.
Nice work. Laura Morgan took that one over.
boom.
I think we just got stomped, Jeffrey Gellman.
You guys are just into like finding the perfect bark collar.
No, I think we were trying to find a good answer, and I think you just stomped us.
Oh.
Way to go, lady.
Hey.
We'll recover, though. There's more answers, and we'll recover, and we'll see if we can pull it out.
Okay. we have question number 7 comes from Laura. Nice name. Hi again, lovely Laura and handsome Sean. Oh, that's his new
Like
name.
things are changing.
Love your show and your personalities.
Thanks,
You guys
Laura.
are quite funny but serious about your advice. That's
Thank you.
the best compliment we can get because we are serious about our advice and we're hilarious. So I'm glad that other people are seeing it
Yes.
because we're not really that funny. Okay. So my question is, I had my dog doing place command.
Bugging my wine, by the way.
I had my dog doing place command out back on the pool deck when the neighbor's dog came out in his yard. My dog stayed in place, but he wouldn't take his eyes off the dog.
Right.
I gave him some low-level e-collar corrections to see if he could stop his staring, but he wouldn't look away, so I walked over and tapped on his head, but he was too fixated to stop looking. How can I stop this and make him relax on place when the other dog's outside?
It's kind of a tough one.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm going to let everybody swing at this because it's kind of fun just to hear what everybody's opinions are. For me, if your dog's in place and he understands place pretty darn well, which it sounds like he does, and he's e-collar trained, correct? Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Then, and your dog is fixating on another dog, what you're going to see is you're going to start to see a theme running through most of these questions. Mm-hmm. And I don't want this theme to be one that sounds like it's all about higher corrections and consequences, making magic happen. But the reality is, whether
we don't have it, no.
Get that bug out of there. Whether I just posted. I can't remember if it was today that I posted about consequences or not on the Sean's rant. But I'm just such a firm believer in consequences affecting behavior in all of us, humans and dogs. And I think what's happening is that your dog is is on the porch in place, doing a good job, and then sees a dog, neighbor's dog, whatever he's got, whatever bad juju he's got with the dog, and he's fixated, focused on the dog. You're correcting or tapping on the head, and which is some old school stuff. But you're correcting with the e-collar, and if the dog is continuing to fixate, I mean, what does that tell you guys?
Too low.
Too low, right?
Yeah.
It just, and once again, I'm not trying to oversimplify this, but it's like we are talking about consequences to change behavior. So if he's fixating like that, this could be just as easily a question about, I'm on a walk with my dog who's reactive, and when he sees other dogs, he fixates on them, and I correct, and he won't stop fixating, and eventually he escalates and gets worse, right? And the same response that we would give for that would be, the moment you see him start to escalate, correct him at a firm enough level, correct him quickly, and if that level's firm enough, you'll get your dog to actually break off that fixation. And if you miss it the first time, dial up and correct again. And look for that level. Don't focus on the number on the e-collar. Don't be caught up on what's going on the remote. Just watch your dog and dial up. Don't dial up from 50 to 100, but dial up and in some nice, like, friendly increments, and make sure that you find levels that your dog cares about enough to change his behavior. And what you'll see, and this is what you'll see with dogs that are reactive on walks, as well as dogs that are reactive or fixated on a porch, you'll see the dog, right? So I'm the dog that's fixated, and I'm like this. Correction. I'll look away. Why? Because looking over there is uncomfortable. It's the same thing with reactivity on the walk. So that's my recommendation. Like I said, it's not to say that just consequences being at like the top level of intensity are the answers, but boy, they really are an important component of changing behavior. So I hope that helps. Jeffrey, want to jump in?
First of all, Morgan, you might have to edit some of this. I think I dozed off
Oh.
at the beginning. This handsome dude has a very soothing voice as well. I think I dozed off. But, you know...
Why would we edit that out?
Okay. But first of all, you know, the same thing happens on a lot of my webinars and Periscopes is sometimes we have some episodes, almost every episode, it seems like we're recommending high-level corrections. And just to clarify, 90% of the time we use a remote collar, it's really low level.
Right.
But the reason why Sean is getting these questions, and I get these questions, by the way, it's on Monday and Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is because of we're one of the few people that actually answer questions that would need a high level correction.
We'll
I think
actually
yeah,
acknowledge and talk
exactly.
about
So I
it.
think
Yeah.
a lot of people, they come to us because they're not getting answers anywhere else.
Right.
But I would also say is when you say fixating, I'm not hearing about the dog leaving place.
Yeah.
I'm hearing about the dog having pretty good impulse control. And also it seems that the dog is not coming in your yard. So it does seem like your dog is in place in your yard on the porch. The other dog is on their property. So there's no boundary crossing. You know, yes, you probably want to get the dog to stop fixating, but also the dog's not leaving place. I mean,
If you were sitting on your porch, Grandpappy, and girl was staring at another dog, would you let it slide, or would you?
If girl never left place and the other dog never ran into my yard,
You'd probably let it
I
go.
would probably let it go.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that.
Oh, yeah,
I hear you.
yeah.
But let's just talk fixating in general. It's a general thing.
Yeah.
It's all your soothing advice was very, very good.
Go to sleep.
Go
Go
to
to
sleep.
sleep. Yeah, so, but I mean, Jeff brings up a good point, and all these questions, there's always a challenge built in, which is that we rarely get enough context or detail to have a really good comprehensive understanding about what's going on. So if, like Jeff's saying, you're sitting on the porch and your dog's in place and your dog's like a rock star in place and is never broken, and that dog never comes over and harasses, maybe it's not such a big deal, right? But if you're finding that your dog is starting to get worked up and you're getting concerned that he might like lift off,
Absolutely.
then you got to do something about it.
But
And
we
you-
didn't hear that there. So
yeah. So it's hard to say what exactly is the right answer. But the cool thing is, so you can just borrow from whichever one makes sense to you.
But to break concentration, consequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, there we go. All right?
This is going to be known as the mean episode,
No, it's not. The tired episode.
the tired episode.
I've been up since 4. I'm sure you guys have been up early too.
I've been up since 5.
Yeah.
Laura's been up since
7.
Really? How'd you get away with 7 today?
I slept in.
snoozy.
I texted him at 6:30 and I was like, I need more sleep because I was up late, like editing
she
your
was working.
stuff.
She was
Yes.
working. Yeah, we had stuff to release.
And
That video-
tonight
that
I will
vi-
be up until 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. cutting this baby.
That's
so.
hard. That's
Yeah.
hard.
That's
That's
right.
all right.
You
Yeah.
watched about- you do- So you record this every Friday?
No, we
No,
record
we
early in the
usually
week.
record like Tuesday, and then I can have some
my
time on
gosh.
it. But basically, with T3, it's interesting. Like T3 takes the whole day, so when I get home from T3, like say around like I'll work out or I'll eat dinner or whatever. At like 7, I start my actual work day, and
Got
then
it.
so from like 7 to 12, I'm doing it like, or 7 to 1, and then we're having
Yeah.
to wake up. But it's totally worth it. So.
We're not complaining, but
No, far
but
from
it-
it.
Hey, bottom line is, anybody that puts out free content, it's most of us. I mean, we got 60 to 80 hour week jobs,
Yeah.
and then there's
Yeah.
the free content we put out.
Not complaining,
Yes.
but
yeah,
just
yeah.
saying that.
But
like,
but it's going to be a late night
Yes.
for this young lady.
there.
So
Not
we
to
feel for her.
Not to hijack your Q&A, but the other day on one of my Periscopes, in all caps, this woman writes, who's a first-time fan, because I know all my fans. First-time fan. I got like 1,500 fans.
Yeah.
You haven't answered my question yet. And I'm like, ban.
Ban.
But guess what else?
Delete.
Everybody else jumps in and be like, do you know how much stuff he does for us? This is free advice. How
Awesome.
dare you? Like, everybody started beating up on her. But it's like, I was like, I obviously didn't see your question. And it's like, this is like,
yeah, no.
you've never said even hello to me before.
In all caps.
I know.
I love that.
Answer me.
That's my new favorite thing. Is
Yeah,
like
all
people
caps.
in all caps.
Right.
They're really stable.
Yeah.
Yeah, really stable.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 8 is from Jacqueline Warvis.
Yes.
A big fan, and we're a big fan of hers.
Jacqueline does primarily rescue and foster work.
Yes.
Yeah. She's a badass. She's learned all of our stuff and applying.
Did you drink the fly?
No, I got the fly out.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I was a gentleman.
Look at you.
I lanced him out of there. And
That's a gentleman. Sticking a dirty pen into the... Okay.
guys,
Plus he fed Cujo.
Yeah. Oh, good.
guys, you can't win.
Okay.
Just in case anybody wants to know.
Okay, question 8. I see something here I don't like. Jacqueline says, "Hi guys, I hope I'm not too late. I have to pay attention when I read this now.
That's right.
I have a big guy, a pointer American Bulldog mix that's been working pretty well on e-collar, duration, place, etc. And I recently see a shift, very subtle attitude change that I suspect is age-related. He's 16 months and neutered. 16 months, he should be bratty age-related. Oh yeah, okay, here it is. He's trying to be a bit more dominant, so he's going on Laura's lockdown. TM.
Really? You put your own TMs?
I think so.
Yep.
Because it's all in caps. I love that.
Wow.
Walks are highly structured, 2-hour duration, place, etc. I would love to say that's my lockdown, but I learned it all from this dude. My question is...
She says disparagingly.
No. What signs do I watch for to know he's ready to come off of lockdown? I know if I relax it too soon, I undo what I've accomplished. Okay, it says Laura here by there, so Jacqueline, let me jump into this.
Laura's secret surprise question. It's back. It's back. It's back.
Surprise.
It's back.
Okay, so I would say the answer I give to clients when I'm on the phone with them or in a session is don't worry about it. Don't be in a hurry. Don't oh my gosh, it's the 13th of April. She said to do 60 days. And now we're don't worry about it. Watch him. So the whole thing, you could say, okay, I'm going to do it for 3 months. I'm going to do it for 2 months. Full lockdown. The only things he's doing are working. So it's place command, down command, anything like duration inside the house or movement. He's on a walk. He's doing structured playtime, which means he's not being a menace to society in your backyard, or he's in the crate sleeping, right? Crate, walk, working, play. Okay, so that's lockdown. If you do that for 60 days and you start to see the most perfect gentleman, he's like, whoa, mom's got it. Okay, I'm cool. Let me be perfect. You can start to, what Sean says so perfectly, adjust the thermostat. So, all right, so maybe a little bit during the day he can be wandering, right? Or we have a little bit of a longer play session. Don't mess with the walk. Don't make it less structured. Don't do any of that silly stuff. Don't take him out of the crate.
But also keep your eye on what do you get when you do.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
So, once you adjust that thermostat, really watch, what's going to happen here? So I do the same thing. I did the same thing with my original dog, Polar Bear. He was doing better and better and better. And I was like, you know what?
It's a good story.
He's being a rock star. We're doing great on the walks. All the research guarding's better. Everything's great.
Mom, I haven't bitten you in weeks.
No. I'm like, let's just have him up on the bed for a minute. Just seriously, 30 minutes. I'm studying. I'll have him and my other dog. Great. Next day on the walk, he bit me on the walk. No joke. It's funny to you guys, but it's a scar on me. So you guys can laugh all you want. But basically, it's a really good thing.
We're not laughing at you. It's just how that goes down from that small privilege to.
It could have been a coincidence.
No. So that's a really, really extreme case because that was a dog who was waiting for an opportunity to kind of worm into my soft energy. He and I had very different energy.
Yep.
You have just a pushy dog that's just he's 16 months, so he's a year and a half, I guess.
She's still not out of the.
Oh no, you've got
16 months is still.
You've got another year and a half of silliness. So all I'm saying is, don't worry about the time. Just worry about watching your dog. And if you want to test the waters, say if in 3 months you're okay, I want to see how it is, if I can give him a little more freedom, and then see what happens. If he's still a gentleman, okay, let's see what we get. The thing is that typically when we tell owners this, they're okay, only 60 days, all right, I can do it. The end of the 60 days, they check in, they're I don't care how good he is, this is amazing, yes. I'm not touching it. So they're he's happy, he's relaxed, I can live a life. He goes everywhere with me.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's not he's got the best life ever. I lock him down. So they're not concerned about loosening up because they've created such a great thing. So,
And it's such a huge contrast from what they're used to.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I would just say, Jacqueline, don't worry about it. Just lock them down. See what you get. Give yourself like an arbitrary number of like 2 to 3 months.
Do the
2 months is
TM.
good.
Do the TM.
Laura's lockdown, TM.
Yeah.
I don't even like. But I don't like that term lockdown.
It is lockdown.
How
I
come?
know, but well, for instance, I mean, here's a great example. So I've got girl with me here. She's in place.
Yeah.
Should we ask him to leave now?
No, that's not lockdown. It's just life.
Yeah, but that's a very different situation.
Oh, okay.
So
I see.
when
I'm not familiar with your TM.
yeah. So just to be clear,
You're talking, no, what we're saying is the same thing you tell clients to do
Oh, yeah.
90 days after.
Right, yep.
Right. So it is lockdown, but there's also
but that's
like.
your dog. That's a very different situation.
Yeah. But girl also gets freedom. Like girl can
But
just
not,
like,
not inside homes though.
is girl created inside the RV?
In the RV, no.
Okay, so this is
Well-
I'm not putting on the stand. I'm just saying like
okay.
girl's got tons. She's got great stuff, and she's proven herself to a big extent. Like Hercules, I leave him in the house, not crated. So Cujo, crated. Like if I go to the bathroom, like there's no, it's 100%, right? He hasn't. Yeah, if I take a shower, he's in the crate. Are you kidding? Yeah.
Otherwise, he's up like making omelets
Oh
and
my
stuff, and
gosh,
like
yeah.
takes
I
the
wouldn't
car to
wanna
the
know
store.
What
and,
would happen?
yeah.
He's like, yeah. So the whole thing is just finding a way to like work with your lifestyle and give that little time, see what you get. But like Jeff said, like lockdown doesn't mean that like it's no fun.
Right.
It just means that there's like some structure going on.
Yeah.
But you may have things that you haven't mentioned here that you want to kind of mess with and mess with those down the line. But right now, like 60, 90 days, just lock it down. It's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Let the dog tell you what works. And like Laura said, when the dog gives you really nice stuff, then start to mirror that just a shade, see what you get. And if it goes south, you bring back the structure. If it looks like it's okay, you let it kind of go, and you start to loosen up a little bit as you go. But just do it in small increments.
Yep. Cool.
Cool?
All right.
Nice work. You made it through.
Hey,
Laura's secret
did it.
surprise. She did it.
He loves the crate.
Because
All right.
he'll potty and like mark and...
Well, not just that. He'll like eat things and like destroy and like pull my blanket off, and I'll come out of the shower and he's like humping my blanket probably for like 20 minutes. He's literally humping it for 20 minutes.
It's messy too.
No, it's not messy.
No?
He's just sitting there like looking at me like, oops, mom caught me. All right.
Manny gets graded too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Manny's got like
And you know what?
potty issues, like, and because you know what he does. I mean, not to hijack this little conversation, but Manny gets excited, right? So people come over. Manny's like,
So does Cujo.
Manny's like, ooh, people are here. Water. Let me go drink 4 gallons. Gulp, 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 gulp. And then Laura's got this. I don't know if there's any scientific basis for it, but there's something about him being kind of like a lowrider, kind of squashed, right? That his bladder is like compressed.
Manny lived with me for many months, and he needed more bathroom breaks than any dog I've had. And he would like look at me and like be in this thing like near the door, and I was like, I think it's because he's like
a little fuzz on
squashed.
your nose. There you go.
Like he's like squashed. Like he's like, I don't know.
I think it's
Bratty.
just his legs that are squashed. I think the rest of his abdomen is right on the money. But
I think his weight is weird.
anyways, so Manny gets created too, just for full disclosure, to make sure everybody understands, because otherwise he'll be like, peeing in the bedroom feels just as good as peeing out on the grass. So like, hey, let's let the good times roll.
Yep.
Anyways,
All right.
let's move on. Let's wrap this baby up.
Question
We're
number
getting
9
close.
comes from Coralie. Coralie says, hey guys, my already reactive guy got in a fight with another dog down the street a few months back. It
Corley's
wasn't-
been doing so good too. Yeah, she's been with us for a while.
This is so cool though, because we see the ups and downs, and anyone who watches the show
Yeah.
sees the
Is that the
dogs.
Coralie that's going to April 2-3?
No,
Is that Coralie?
Coralie is. She might be thinking about it.
I thought she was.
Is that Canada?
Fully?
I thought she might be going.
I know she's like, they're thinking about it. Ooh, I gotta check. Don't quote me on this.
Well, let's
Okay.
apply pressure here. We can't wait for you to
Hey,
show
Coralie,
up.
We'll see you in April.
We'll see you in
Yeah,
April.
I mean, we're already saving a spot, so you'd really
Alright.
disappoint us.
So it wasn't my dog's fault. The other dog ran out of his house and made a straight line for us. He was muzzled and no one got hurt. Wow, that's great. The issue is now that as soon as he catches a glimpse of him, he goes totally insane, lunges, barks, and redirects on me.
Redirects.
No matter how far we are and how early I correct, I try talking to the owner so we could work on it, but they refuse to help. He's getting much better with other dogs at a distance and a well-timed correction, but every time we see that specific dog, he takes a huge step back. Any advice?
Bummer.
Yeah,
So,
Corley, I'm sorry.
all right, so I've got all of us listed here for doing a little bit of help.
Por supuesto.
But I'm going to jump in first. So, Coralie, first of all, I'm really sorry. I hope to make it to 2-3. This is something we hear about a lot, where dogs are doing really well, and they're either at a park or they're on a walk or somewhere, and another dog off leash bum rushes them, and what ends up happening is all of their confidence and trust gets eroded, and then they end up in a bad space, and then they're like super reactive, or like you said, in worst case scenario, redirecting and getting into that space. So it's really a bummer, and what I like is I like your attitude. It sounds like you're just kind of like pushing through, and you're just going to make the best of it, which is truly fantastic. So a couple things I'd suggest. So if I'm not mistaken, Coralie's using e-collar.
Yep, she
Yep.
uses everything.
She uses everything, e-collar, prong collar. Does she use a book? Sorry, that inside joke. You didn't hear that from me. So what I'd suggest, and we suggested this with Tara Isaacson, and she actually had a lot of luck with Scout, and that's using a dominant dog collar. Right? So you don't necessarily need to use the dominant dog collar with every dog, because it sounds like the e-collar work and all the other, not redirecting, but all of the other corrective work and reactivity work that you've been doing has been working for you really well. But you got this one guy, right? So it's like, if you think about it, it's like you've got somebody who's like, you know, lives down the street from you and is always harassing you and has been a nasty jackass. It's like, just like us, dogs build grudges, and they know, like, that dog sucks, that dog's unsafe, that dog I don't like. So what I would suggest is you use all the same tools you're using, but I would go to learberg.com and I would size your dog's neck. They give you a whole protocol on how to do it, and get yourself a dominant dog collar, and you can either add a second leash to it, or you can make that your primary leash. The only thing you have to make sure is that your dog's not so inclined to bite through the leash. So I know he's redirecting. I don't know how crazy he's getting. I don't know if he's like trying to bite the leash and bite through it. If that's the case, that can be a little bit iffy. If that is the case, then I much prefer you do like leash and prong, e-collar in this hand, and then you use like if you've seen my videos, like a small traffic leash connected to a dominant dog collar, and you can hold them both leashes in one hand, right? Which it's hard, because it'd be great if we had, you know, two other arms, but we don't. So basically, e-collars in this hand, dogs on your left. We've got the leash and prong, and then we've also got this handle leash, which has got your dominant dog collar. Your dog sees that dog that really gets his goat, and instead of doing all the other tools that you know work in all the other contexts and help you, but don't work with this dog, you need another strategy. And the dominant dog collar is just about the best tool going for removing drive and relaxing, chilling, taking the wind out of your dog's sails. So what I would suggest is you're walking, everything's cool, correcting for any monkey business, and then all of a sudden you see, dun dun dun, that dog, right? Pause, put your dog in a sit. I would even face him away. That's another great strategy. Make sure you've got plenty of space between you and that dog. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take the dominant dog collar leash, and I want you to apply pressure up, right? I don't want you to hoist your dog off the ground. I don't want him swinging in the air, but I do want the front of his paws to come up just a little bit off the ground, and I want you to hold him like this, right? And as soon as your dog starts to relax, you relax and answer that with him, right? But if you hold him and he starts to like look around and get feisty with the dog, just hold him and just hang with him. We don't want your dog to become unconscious. We don't want to put your dog to sleep. All we want to do is say that behavior, that reaction is not going to get you the escalation and the outlet and all of that channeling of energy that he wants to do. I want you to take the energy down rather than letting the energy channel up and
Especially
explode.
because what he's doing by amping up when he sees that dog, it's another...
He's redirecting.
Yeah, well, that too.
Yeah.
But that amp up, like, uncomfortable. And I'm not just saying that like, oh, he's uncomfortable. It's just, but it is. It's uncomfortable. I see a dog. I have a panic reaction.
Yeah.
I'm reacting. I'm going for you. I'm doing all this stuff. That causes dogs to like be uncomfortable and eventually not live in homes anymore.
And you know why he's uncomfortable? Because he feels unsafe.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
So basically that's what happened is, right? So your dog got bum rushed, and now what happens is he doesn't feel safe. And in a perfect world, a dog comes charging, you boot that dog, and that dog goes flying, and your dog goes, wow, mom kicks ass, and I don't have to sweat anything.
But that was a hard situation.
But that's really hard, and it's hard for all of us. So, like, whether it's Jeff, whether it's me, whether it's Laura, and we're all pretty, like, adept at this, it's still never an easy situation. So, I would really love for you to go to... I'm trying to jump in on these Snapchats that Laura's doing. I'd really like you to go to the Dominant Dog Collar, and I'd really like you to experiment with it. Like I said, Tara Isaacson, who had asked several questions on Q&A, and her dog Scout was a really reactive pitty with every dog, and she did everything we asked for. She used more space. She used leash and prong and e-collar and corrected early.
She gives us updates too. I have to like.
Yeah, she sends us updates. Yep. But then when she would find herself in a situation where her dog was escalating and she wasn't getting the de-escalation she wanted, she would just quietly, calmly apply pressure up with the Dominant Dog Collar. Once again, not to take your dog's all of his legs off the ground, but just front paws just a little bit off the ground, hold, wait till your dog relaxes, then answer that, and then set him back down. And what you should find is that you should be able to condition your dog that that reaction is not a positive reaction, that reaction is not getting him anything, that reaction is going to be uncomfortable, and then hopefully you're going to write us back in a week or two and be like, guys, it worked so well, my dog is doing aces, and that jackass down the street that bum rushed us, well, he's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
So
the other thing, Coralie, is just all that, but also can you take another route, like on your walk? I know it sounds like so simple, but man, like your dog had a bum rush situation with the dog, and now it's like biting you, and he has an emotional, and you guys have been doing so well. Like, I not take the easy way out or like try to like avoid the situation, but you guys have been doing great. You've been having such great progress. And now all of a sudden this situation that comes that like the dog's so freaked out that he's amping up to the point of redirecting on you. I can't remember if he did that before or whatever.
I don't think he did.
No.
I mean, you can always add a muzzle as well if you want to really be safe.
I'm just saying, like, can you go left instead of right and avoid this dog that caused so much stress? You know, it sounds, you know, I don't know. It just
do you feel like she's going to need to eventually meet that head on, and that she should build in a softer, easier environment and then head there, or what?
Yeah, if this is happening with every dog, you know what I mean? Like every dog that comes because of that experience, then we need to like really, really address it. Is it just this dog and just this neighbor that won't help you get through it? Maybe we turn left instead of right.
Okay, Jeffrey?
Everything they said, but I would actually add something to it as well. I would actually do food focus work. And what I would do is, first of all, kudos for you for like even keeping this dog in your family. But what I would do is, what we teach is we would teach food focus work. But believe it or not, you could actually stand in front of these people's house as long as it was safe. As long as it was safe. And actually, you can do remote collar focus work with a food reward for looking at you. So what you would do is you would start, what we do is, when we see the dog getting a little bit ampy, if we double tap the remote, that means that they're supposed to, we train the dog they're supposed to look up at us. So what you can do is, we're not talking about competition heel here, but what we can do is, your dog is feeling very insecure, like nobody's helping it.
Yeah.
So what it's doing is, it's like, I'm gonna get you first before you can get me attitude. We see this a lot with dogs that have been attacked. One of my first dogs, Max, actually was like this because he was also attacked by 2 or 3 dogs.
Yeah.
So what he would get is, he assumed every dog was out to get him.
Yep.
So what I would do is, if it's safe, I would actually put my dog into a sit right in front of these people's houses and be like, look at me, look at me, look at me. Here's your food, here's your food, here's your food. And then the dog will start reassociating that house with, hey, cool, this is a lot of fun here. Bottom line is, though, is you still have to address it. You still have to address it. But
Have you found that if you do that, that when the dog actually comes out, that the dog that you've been doing the counter conditioning is like, cool, I don't care anymore, or what?
We've never, with a dog literally racing from the front yard, racing across the yard into the street, all bets are off. You put your dog behind you and your foot goes out.
Right.
Or so we're talking about.
No. I mean, like, not that the dog escapes again, but that the dog ends up coming out for a walk.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're out there with your dog
Yep.
doing counter conditioning,
Yep.
and then the owner that is not being cooperative comes out with the dog,
Yep.
and you're finding that the dogs are doing
Yes.
okay.
So what you do is, though, is you got to speed up your focus work, but yes, you're able to get through the reactionary part with focus.
So and your prompting with the e-collar, and the e-collar is demanding that focus,
Right.
and then the food is rewarding and
Right.
reinforcing
But you're
that
not doing the
focus.
food. Okay, you do the training with food,
Yep.
but when you're actually on the walk,
Yep.
you're not. I personally, I'm not giving my dog food while I'm walking.
Yeah.
So, but you turned it into a training session. But yes, the dog understands that the double tap when you're walking your dog in heel means head up, look at the eyes.
So you wouldn't be using food while you're actually out on the walk then?
You would set up a separate training program, literally maybe 2 houses down, 3 houses down, 1 house down,
Okay.
right in front of the house.
Okay.
But as you're walking, as a final test and the final product, you're not like feeding your dog. It's
Right.
not practical.
Is there any point where you feed yourself?
If you're using, depends what you're feeding your dog.
Yeah.
You would just use their daily kibble.
Okay. I mean, no bagels or anything.
No, the bagels are bad for dogs.
Okay.
Cookies.
Cookies are bad for dogs.
For you. Question number 10 comes from Kiki. Kiki Freya says, hi, how are you? I just wanted to ask about something that happened today with my dog. It's a Dutch Shepherd. He's 6 months and he's very dog aggressive. Today, after a long walk, he started barking at another dog. He's already on a prong, and for the first time when I corrected him with a pop on the leash, he bit my leg.
Ouch.
Yes. I got mad and gave him 5 or 6 pops very hard for the next time. What should I do? We had a good relationship, and now I'm sad.
I'm sad too.
Yeah.
So Kiki, you kind of know Kiki a little bit?
I just from the internet.
Did you tell Kiki to pop angrily
Not once
multiple
have told
times?
Kiki to do it. So first of all, we've all made mistakes with our dogs.
Yeah.
What I want you to do is I want you to stop feeling bad. You know, trust me, I've made a mistake with every one of my dogs, and I bet you next week I will continue to make mistakes with my dog.
Yeah.
But obviously, as a general statement, it's not good to use emotion in a correction.
Yep.
So it sounds like that's what you did. You lost your cool. That does not make you a bad person or a bad dog owner or a bad trainer. We all make mistakes.
Yep.
But I'm not surprised your dog bit you either, because your dog probably was like, stop.
He's probably really amped up
Yes.
too.
So what I would do is, I believe you're down in South America or Mexico. You can use remote collars. I would switch over to the remote collar. Obviously, I think that the consequence the dog got did not warrant the action the dog was doing. So you lost your cool and you paid for it. Lesson learned. I'm sure you're not going to do it again. I don't think you destroyed the relationship with your dog. What you should probably do is get over it, and your dog will most likely get over it. And I would switch the remote collar. I would say, why did you get so frustrated with your dog for barking after a walk? As you know, that doesn't really scale.
There's probably a ton of other things that
Yeah.
are going on.
You might have had. It sounds like you had a rough day prior to the walk.
He's got a Dutch Shepherd, right? So I mean, Dutch Shepherds are pretty intense dogs,
Not
correct?
style.
Right.
Right, but it was barking.
Yeah. But he's
Yeah, but
he's,
I'm saying like there could be a ton of other things going on in the house.
right.
That's like
Got it.
when he's finally barking, it's like all the other things.
Right.
You know?
Finally came up.
Right. So who knows how intense things are in the house? But that's a great point. It's a great point what Jeff made as well. Kiki, you can't do anything positive working with your dog when you're pissed off.
Yeah.
It's just, you're better off, literally, if your dog is a maniac, you're better off just taking the leash and just walking away. You're not going to make anything, Belle, you're not going to make anything better. You're not going to make anything good happen. The only thing you are going to make happen is what you got, which is a nice bite. And I hate to say that, but the way I would bet Jeff would back me up 100% on this is that anytime that I've been bitten, anytime that I've gotten myself in trouble, has almost without exception been when I've been a little too intense, a little bit too on edge, a little bit too, oh no you don't, and not in my best, most balanced, calm, relaxed state. And when you bring that energy to a dog that's already in a peak state, you've got a really good shot at clash, right? You got a really good shot at the dog being defensive and getting into a bad space. So please let that be your first lesson. Jeff suggested e-collar, and I would suggest the same thing. I've got really the same notes. Basically, I said prongs can definitely amp up and create redirection, and it sounds like that's exactly what you got, especially doing multiple prong corrections. What's going to happen is your dog gets amped up, you start popping. All it's going to do, we were just teaching this at T3 today, talking about e-collar heel and why it's so valuable, is it can raise so many dogs up. And Belle, and if you've got a really high drive dog, it's even worse, right? If you've got like a chilled out, relaxed dog and you give a prong collar pop, a lot of those dogs will just come down real nicely. But if you've got this kind of like amped up dog and you start like ramping on him, you got a real good shot of him heading up to places that you don't want him to head up to. So Belle, so she's so excited about this episode. So what I would suggest is e-collar heel. Jeff's got videos. You've got an e-collar heel video, correct?
We do. Fusa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't,
sure
we've
you've
got
got
one.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go to the Good Dog Training and look up, I think it's how to e-collar heel with the GSD Fusa. That'll show you exactly how to do it. Of course, you need an e-collar. We'd recommend a mini educator.
Yep.
Very affordable. Get it off of Amazon. All the bells and whistles you
For
need.
Dutch, you might want to go with the Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. That's a good point because your Dutch might be a little bit intense.
Yeah.
So I'd love to think you could work with a mini, but maybe I'm being a little optimistic. And then the other thing is that if you're finding that, like you said, you got a redirection happening, if it's only happening due to prong collar and you getting intense and then feeding that energy and then nailing your dog, that's one thing. But if you're finding that your dog is getting into a space where redirection is a possibility, like maybe at any time when he sees another dog and you start to address it, even if you're in a calm state, even with an e-collar, then I would get a dominant dog collar on that dog straight away to make sure that if things do start to escalate, you have the ability, and you can use 2 leashes, just like I said in the other question. You can have leash and prong collar, and then you can have short leash, or you can have a secondary, leash that's the same length, doesn't matter. Secondary leash that's connected to a dominant dog collar. And that way, if you ever find yourself in a situation where your Dutch Shepherd is starting to amp, instead of you, Laura Morgan, instead of you, because here's what's happening, right? You're out on this walk, you've got this intense dog, he starts to react, you don't like it, you nail him, he goes up 10 pegs, that's not going to help you. But if you notice that that's happening, if you've got them on the e-collar, if you can bring them down, that's great. If that doesn't work, then the dominant dog collar, pressure up, and hold until your dog relaxes, and then your dog will learn, like, I can't do that kind of behavior around other dogs. So we've actually hit on some of the same answers for several of these questions, and I guess in a lot of ways that's kind of typical. There's a lot of parallels and a lot of similarities, both with consequences, appropriate consequences, really working hard to find the right tools, and being creative, managing your own energy, and just being hyper aware of how you're interacting with your dog. So there's a lot of parallels, a lot of themes going on in these questions that I think a lot of people, even though they've got different dog stuff, could really benefit just listening to some of the answers here. And the cool thing is you've got us three masterminds. It's cool. It's nice to have Jeffrey here. This is the first time we've ever had him here. We've been on his radio show, but we've never had him here actually with us at the house. So we've been able to tap into some of his wisdom and pull some good stuff out of him, and along with some bad jokes. And so it's been a real pleasure. I'd like to thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
We love having you here, and girl as well, which you can't see. Hi, girl. And guys, I think that's the end. Did we go long?
It's a long one. Yeah.
But
It's okay.
it's so weird because I got all the questions on one page.
I know.
And I was like, we are gonna haul ass
It's
through
just like
this.
3 people. We got like we're headstrong.
We
It's
got
like
a
the
lot
whole
to
thing.
say,
Yeah.
and you know what? We care.
Yeah.
We're trying to give
We
good
do.
information.
We do.
It'd be one thing to just be like, oh, correct your dog with a prong collar and everything's going to be peachy.
Yeah.
Right.
But we're trying to give you answers that really work, that are a little bit more complex, a little
Yeah.
more nuanced than just your everyday dog training advice. So, guys, we love you so much.
So much.
Please give us some feedback. Let us know how things have worked.
Yep.
Nothing is better than hearing a week, 2, 3, 4 weeks down the line that whatever. And we just got a bunch, by the way, in this last post. Some really fantastic responses from people. Even somebody with a really fearful dog, and
cool.
that I'll share with you. So we love hearing these positive stories about you guys making great progress and transformations with your dogs.
Yeah.
So please share them with us, and we will see you guys next week with more awesomeness. Jeffrey probably won't be here. He'll be just traversing the countryside in his RV, and we'd be wearing a hat and eating some ribs and doing this thing.
It's a barbecue.
Barbecue. And but
We love you guys.
we love you,
Yep.
and we'll see you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
See you on the flip.
See you
All right.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.